Luskin, is it time to go to the King Dollar trade and sell commodities?
It's been time since March 17th when the Fed bailed the marketplace out of the Bear Stearns collapse. That was when the Fed brought online its new tools for dealing with the credit crisis without printing money. So that was the day that the inflation crisis passed, and that was the day that you can start selling commodities.
Don Luskin, you want to weigh in? Just take a quick hit at this Ritholtz Pethokoukis debate.
Well, I mean, come on, Larry. You know where I stand. We're not even close to a recession. If the NBER declares this a recession, the only way they could possibly do that is if it gets far worse. And from that perspective of it being much worse than it is today, yeah, they could look back and say we were in one starting at some point in the past, including today. But you look at jobs, you look at jobless claims, you look at basically all the indicia of recessions. We simply aren't there yet.
I got a couple, by the way.
It is a forecast, and all this data is starting to turn up.
List. Stocks up. The credit spreads are way down. That shows the credit crunch is healing. You mentioned jobs, particularly the household survey. Jobless claims are nowhere near recession. The 5% unemployment rate, nowhere near recessions. We even had a decent core retail sales number. Factory shipments in the CapEx report in March were very good. And here's what you know. Last time we talked, or one of the last few times we talked, you kind of talked about the bond market outside of treasuries. I think someplace we've got the shrinking junk bond spread, which is a great sign, and the shrinking swap spread, even with LIBOR. You still like the corporate bond market?
Yeah, I do. I think it's the best play out there. I think there's kind of a maxim or a theorem about investing, which is anytime you've been through a crisis, you always want to try to do the one thing that is what got everybody else in trouble right at the very bottom of the crisis. And what that was buying non-treasury fixed income on leverage. So what you want to do is you want to buy leveraged loans, you want to buy junk, you want to buy mortgages, and you want to do it with leverage. You want to basically pick up from the basement all the stuff that everybody else was forced to sell in the forced deleveraging and the baton death march of March, and that's where you're still going to make the most money in this market with the best risk-reward ratio.
Don Luskin, do you have any doubt that when Barry Ritholtz goes back to his cubicle, he's going to switch gears again and turn super bearish on the economy?
I know I have no doubts, but I don't know what fusion IQ is, but Barry, if your fusion IQ ever gets to 100, short it.
Okay, you got it, Don.
That was a riposte. You got to respond to that riposte.
You know,
that was a very tough riposte.
I didn't take it as that.
Do you feel beleaguered tonight?
Not at all.
You're a good
I'm in the line.
Now, Don Luskin, I am still worried about the inflation because the dollar is still low, the gold price is still high, the energy price is still high, the food price is still high. I just want to get your view on this CPI story because it really did help trigger a good rally today.
Look, there is going to be what David Malpass said earlier. There is going to be elevated inflation for a couple of years. It's because of what the Fed has done for the last 3 or 4 years. It's destiny. We cannot avoid it. But the good news is a couple months ago when gold was at 1,030, it looked a lot worse. We've swerved away from that oncoming truck. So we're not going to have 10% inflation. We're just going to have 5% inflation. That we can survive.
See, you know what else, Pat? Now, Don Luskin, actually, you blogged this today. A lot of the voters, the working-class voters that Pat Buchanan described, are involved in the carbon industry. And here's McCain going after their bread and butter, or what's left of it, Don.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, his campaign put out a press release yesterday bragging about how you can buy eco-friendly McCain clothes on their website. Give me a break. I mean, talk about reaching out to the Hillary Democrats. Why doesn't he just become a Democrat? This is just crazy. He's not going to win this without Republicans like me showing up and bothering to vote for the guy.
Go ahead, Pat.
Look what happened to stocks today. You know what was the top in stocks? We ended up basically unchanged. The top was when the Department of the Interior that reports to President Bush announced that the polar bear has been put on the endangered species list. God knows what global warming mischief that's going to lead to.
Go ahead, Pat.
It's true.
Look, if he does this, McCain will put at risk Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, West Virginia, their manufacturing, their industry, their coal, their things like that. I mean, they are not into climate change and Kyoto protocols.
Larry, you should draw some comfort from the market's reaction to the CPI this morning. All the inflation plays were down today. The dollar was up, and the Fed funds futures markets have now moved to expecting 3 whole rate hikes by the time a year has passed from now. That's a great positive reaction. It sounds like you don't need to worry about what you're worried about.
Well, perhaps so. Listen, gold stocks were down, energy stocks were down, steel stocks were down, so all that looks pretty good this